All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone here. Cut. Starting over.
Welcome to 2019.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, wait. Let's be real here.
All right. Starting now. Chicago and elsewhere, welcome to the Gig Pray Love podcast, hosted in the very echoey dining room in my apartment. I have here with me a really good old friend of mine. He goes by the name BoDega, but I will let him give you a more detailed introduction. So,
Oh, well, then okay. So me and Sam have known each other for a very, very long time. Since like third or fourth grade, second grade or some shit.
very early grade
Very
school.
early grade school.
Shouts out Oscar Mayer.
Right, good times. But I'm Dominic. I go by BoDega as a producer and DJ. For those who don't know, a bodega is basically a corner store where you can get anything and everything. And if you're in New York specifically, where they're all called bodegas, you can literally get anything. Like fucking, if you're ever in Harlem, get yourself a fucking chopped cheese. It's the shit.
But you have to know which one to go to get the thing that you're looking for.
The place is literally called Habibi's, and it's right off one of the train stations in Harlem.
I mean, imagine my surprise walking down a street in New York, seeing a bodega that had the word cigarettes and tobacco emblazoned on its store. Walk in, can't buy rolling papers because they're out. So that was a weird one, yeah.
But for the most part, you can get everything. And as a DJ, or as a producer as well, I try to have all options, all ideas kind of covered. I like music as a whole. So I like to think I can put out anything, or give out anything, or DJ anything. So yeah, that's why I started going by BoDega as a DJ and as a producer. And then I also have a group with another local DJ who's pretty fucking dope and pretty up there, my homie White Owl.
Shouts out White Owl.
Shout out to White Owl. DJ fucking White Owl is just shit. He's currently doing some work right now, so we're gonna be linking up later to make some more music for that project. Hertz So Good, which
That's
is
right.
Play on words, because hertz is the measurement of frequency, and yada 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 woo woo.
And since we're talking about White Owl, why don't you kind of go into who he is a little bit and how you guys ended up linking up?
Oh, White Owl's fucking DJ extraordinaire. He's an amazing fucking DJ here in Chicago, based here in Chicago, because he plays everywhere. We both together played a lot of festivals individually. Local ones like Spring Awakening and North Coast. I played Wavefront the one time it happened. We've both been heavily involved with a lot of the local bars and clubs in the area. He plays all over right now. Played on EDC. A few different stages.
For those who don't know, that's Electric Daisy Carnival.
And that's a big ass fucking electronic music festival out in Vegas. And then he also played Electric Forest this year. A few different sets. One was all disco. And then he played the artist pool. Last year we played together when we won a production contest.
Yeah, you guys were at the Silent Disco that year, right?
Mm-hmm. And the artist pool. Which was pretty.
Which looked like a hell of a party.
Yeah. You would think like, oh, silent disco. That's gonna be like what we were used to here, at least, or whatever. Like the silent disco, because it was still just starting when I played Spring Awakening and stuff like that. A couple years back. Like it wasn't small, but it wasn't like it was at Electric Forest. Like holy shit, that was a lot of people. We played for like 2.5 hours.
How many people would you say were at the Electric Forest?
The whole forest itself? I don't know.
No. At your disco set.
Like a couple hundred or something like that, which is a lot to be keeping closed in a quiet space.
Definitely.
But no.
So you just heard a lot of heavy breathing and like flesh smacking flesh when people bumped into each other when they weren't looking.
Yeah, because there's no like. You hear. It's in the. Oh god, my back is itching. It's in the middle of an ongoing festival, but it's so fucking dope, and the people there were so fucking like committed, and like we had one dude kind of looked like Sideshow Bob, if I'm being honest, but he had on like the Bret Hart glasses. Yeah, he was killing them with them glasses. He came maybe like 30 minutes into our set, and like slowly, he came with a group of like 15, 20 people, and slowly but surely, everybody kind of made their way out, except for him. He like was walking away and going with like two more people, him and like two people that stayed actually. And they were walking away, and then like they just kept fucking turning around and coming back and dancing some more. So we had to shout homie out while we were DJing, because he was a great fucking motivation to keep on going. Because sometimes you think about stuff like that. Like it was our first gig together as Hertz So Good at the festival, and while it was a dope spot, still silent disco. Everybody has their expectations, but nah, it was fucking lit. it was quite litty.
So how did you and DJ White Owl get connected though? Where did you guys?
Just being out in the industry, to be honest. Just like both being DJs and talking to people, being in the same circles, whatever. And then like eventually kind of like just having like it was a very natural like connection, you know. There wasn't anything
Organic.
Yeah, very organic. I try to keep those. I was telling somebody that the other day, like you can't just go into shit with intentions. Let shit happen. And, we linked up, and we're really cool. We had a good time. Like when we first started, like kind of chilling as friends. We got real close real quick. He's like a big brother to me, in a way. And he fucking respects me and my musicality and shit. And then we had been talking about doing like some stuff together, and he had wanted to like kind of learn some production stuff. And then it just kind of eventually led to us just kicking it at the studio and making music together, like for the past couple of years now. So.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough for those kinds of connections with people, because when you meet someone, if they are just vibing with your personality, like usually it's not even music that's the first thing that comes up, or not, at least not that you do music. Like after a while, if you talk to someone who's very well versed in their scene or in their genre, then those people just kind of naturally make connections. And I feel like you were one of those people that kind of naturally just makes connections because you're kind of a standout guy. I mean, aside from being very tall, you're also like this kind of bubbling.
You're calling me fat.
You're a bubbling kombucha bottle of
Jesus Christ.
of like excitement, and I think that people, when they talk to you about music, they can kind of sense your passion, and not just your passion, but your understanding, and also like you're not one to hide this. You have a deep drive to continue your push to learn more things, to learn about the new technological advancements in the industry, and to stay on top of who does what. Yeah, I think that kind of personality is super important to don't hide it. If you're super excited about what you're doing and you're out doing shows and you meet somebody, like my thing that I always get is when I'm talking to someone, if I see them as better than me, I try and hide that I guess you would call it like youthful exuberance and naivete, just that almost fan worship moment. But I think
fandom.
But it's okay to be a fan. Like even as a musician, it's more than okay. Like it's important that you are a fan of people that are around you.
I completely agree with that. Like as a musician, I always like jokingly separate. There's a fan's like ear, like listener's ear, and then there's a musician's ear, and like it's just on some goofy segregation shit. But it like I know people that are fucking they have no talent in music whatsoever, but their excitement for like for music in general excites me. So then like, and because I like so much shit, like as far as genre wise, that can happen with so many people. And it's like, as far as keeping that excitement, I always like kind of jokingly like White Owl. I've asked this to White Owl too. I might even ask you before. Like, when was the last time you fell backwards out of a chair? And it's like, because like as adults, we know shit. We're conscious, so we're essentially on guard. Like the moment you lose your adolescence, you're always on guard to a degree.
Absolutely.
And that kind of kills shit. And it's like, man, you can't really have fun if you fucking sitting up here like afraid to fall. So like dead ass, every so often I will just close my eyes and fall back on a fucking chair. I'm serious, just like hands up, just fall. Like it feels nice. Honestly, like when I first fell on a fucking longboard, like I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting up. Yeah, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm gonna keep going. That's why that's shit fun as hell for me. That's the only way I've ever lost weight. I don't give a fuck about exercising, but it's fun and it's enjoyable, and it's like it keeps that, and that's how it is with music.
And it's vulnerable.
Yeah, you know. And there's so much, like, as far as music goes, there's so much shit out there. There's so much shit coming out. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you really love this shit, if you really love music in general, you should be continuously, constantly excited about some form of it. You know, there's always people that hate on shit. Like we were having the MF Doom Gibbs conversation.
Oh yeah, that's like really big right now.
Right, but like, why even like make the compare? Yo, I always say I like shit that's good as it like for what it is. Like that's why I like Fall Out Boy, because it's a good ass pop punk band. That's why I like Every Time I Die, because whatever it is they do, god damn, is it groovy. Every time. Every fucking time. In the same sense, I like Stevie Wonder, and I love Marvin Gaye, and fucking, what's her name? Millie Jackson. Baddest bitch ever. She was the one that's like, we wouldn't have like Lil' Kim and like Nicki Minaj, any of that, like that character, that like, fuck you, I did mine as a woman.
Just describe Millie Jackson a little
bit.
Millie
Jackson is from like the 70s, right? She had a song called, what is it? She didn't have a song called Eating Ain't Cheating. What? Oh, If Loving You Is Wrong. She covered that. She was a woman that covered that song. I think it might have originally been hers. And she had an album called Feeling Bitchy. I got the record at home too.
Oh, nice.
And it's just like her, like big fucking hair, black woman in the fucking 70s. Beautiful, made all the makeup, and just these big ass lips, wide the fuck open, with her tongue out, just like licking her fucking lips, like.
Wow.
And that was like, women weren't supposed to act like that.
That's very hardcore for the era.
And especially not on in record format. Like, you weren't getting Patti LaBelle out here on some freaky shit, at least not physically. But her, man, let me find, like, really fast. Let me find this, like, the actual names of those songs. Hold on.
Yeah.
Feeling.
We're gonna hit the pause button here for a minute, but we'll be back. Obviously, the pause will feel like nothing happened to you, but over here we're taking a quick break. So see you in a few minutes.
I'll come.
Go.
Okay, so yeah, Millie Jackson. Let me find these songs. Just had them up. I think I accidentally dropped it.
Huh. Nice one there, bud.
Millie Jackson songs. All right, so again, that first album of hers, '77, it was called Feel In, Bitchy, and had great hits on it, such as All the Way Lover, If You're Not Back in Love by Monday, and my personal favorite, where's it at? Never Change Lovers in the Middle of the Night. There are so many songs, like, she was so ahead of the game as far as like setting up this whole thing as for women empowering themselves in their own sexuality and their decisions and shit, like in music and R&B and blues and shit like that, you know. She was out here messing with the boys in the same way, because James Brown was on some weird, goofy shit.
Definitely.
Like, you know, You Never Crossed My Mind. That's a song. And none of these are like, It Hurts So Good. None of these are soft songs.
Mm-mm.
This is like, they're like blues and funky, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's good. It's some really good shit.
So, yeah, I mean, there's, and that's the thing that I always harp on. If you ever hear someone saying that they can't find good music these days, then they're not looking. Because you don't have to find good music for these days from now. They can be from the past, something that's been left behind, or Trump, like, just kind of never made it out. There was a band called Death that got a documentary made about them 10 years ago in 2009. These guys were at the forefront of the punk rock wave and never got any looks because their record label wouldn't release their music. So, and that didn't even surface again until 2006 or 7.
Death
from the 70s.
The Florida band? Death?
No, the Michigan band.
Oh, okay. Didn't know. Don't
Yeah. And first, well, people tout them as the first black punk band.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they and many other people in their scene have all been pretty above board and on the wave, I think, in saying, like, hey, you know, we weren't the first anything. We were just writing music that made us move, that really spoke to us.
Yeah, that's how it kind of should be, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, like, to double back on that, like, that mindset of a listener that's a musician versus a listener that's just a fan. There's like a dedication and like a belief behind being a fan. Like, I hear people so many times complaining about bands or rappers or singers changing their styles or something like that. But it's like, okay, but like, what do you expect this person to do? Like, we all go through changes. Like that.
Yeah, we're human beings.
That, you know, so
human
like,
beings, people.
There's yeah, it's like, yeah, we're just here to make music, man. Like, they're not trying to get this forefront or anything. There's also a documentary dropping about that singer, black female punk singer. I can't remember her name. What was the name of X-Ray Specs? No, X-Ray something.
Yeah, it was X-Ray Specs.
Their singer. There's a documentary like dropping about her as well, because she's one of those people that she's cold.
It's killing me that her name is escaping me right now. But if you've never heard of X-Ray Specs, they were another like band that people hail as this group that was bridging genres and breaking stereotypes. Polystyrene.
Yeah.
Polystyrene. Yeah. And her daughter just came out with an article via Galdem, a ladies blog. Check them out. Check out X-Ray Specs. Check out Polystyrene. And speaking of making music and bands and stuff like that, you and I actually are Eskimo cousins when it comes to a particular band. We were in a band together for a while called Major Belden.
Major Belden.
We named ourselves after the intersection near where we practiced.
In a fucking garage.
In a garage.
Hot as shit.
Real garage punk, y'all. we were in a pop, like it was a generally a pop punk band. We had some offshoots, some tangents,
some straight punk moments, like
right,
like the 7-second song or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like really like.
Yep.
That was the end of the song.
Yeah,
like
we dabbled in grindcore.
This was a good time.
It was good, and that band was actually an offshoot of a band that I had played in previously with same guitar player, and I was playing guitar at that point. It was a experimental metal band that never really took off because of some personal issues with the bandmates. Not like we hated each other then or now, like we were still friends, but just stuff didn't work out at the time.
Shit happens.
And we started Major Belden. We had talked to Dominic while we were in our metal band phase, and we had asked him like if he'd ever want to like join us on a recording, and he said yeah, but I just started playing guitar, give me about a year. And then he came back and he was shredding like he'd been playing for about 20.
Well, to be fair, I had like played around with guitar, but I'd never taken it seriously, and I never like. And I understood it, but I didn't get it. Like I didn't get it, you know, like especially not like I do now. And I never took lessons, so it was like I'm just gonna be stubborn.
You had to teach yourself.
Yeah, and I like once I really buckled down after all of that, and seeing Alan do some shreddy shit, I was like, oh fuck, that's mad doable. Shit, he's just as fat as me.
Mm-hmm.
Although he wasn't, I was gigantic at the time. But yeah, no, it was just like, oh shit, you know, there's something I find interesting about this. Let me dive into that shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I dove deep.
You did.
I got into. I mean, I'm still into a lot of the same shit. I mean, I listen to. If I ever liked it, I'm going to continuously listen to it. Like I'll listen to Protest the Hero and Tupac in the same like fucking 5-minute span. But no, I like really started diving into like woodshedding and chopping it up and spending time like teaching myself about scales, modes, and all this shit.
Time, like you're being vague, but like he means hours
like
and hours a day. Yeah.
It was a lot. I actually still have it written down somewhere. I'd heard about Steve Vai's 5-hour, 20-hour practice routine, and I was like, that's stupid. Like, I like your music. No, I like his playing. The music's cool, but like I also like R&B and blues and shit. It's like I don't want to be that good. I don't want to be controlled by the rules. But I still want to be capable of doing whatever I want. So you know, I started diving into learning songs just to learn something from it. Like once I was fucking. Like when I got into Jimi Hendrix, that led me into as far as playing his music, that led me to getting into like other artists of similar styles, like Jimmy Vaughn, not Stevie Ray Vaughan, but Jimmy Vaughn.
Yeah, his
like
brother.
His older brother. That led to that. That led to me learning about just how. It didn't lead to me listening to the Isley Brothers because like I grew up in a black family with my mom, my grandma, and they old as shit and all this. So all I listened to was old music, old Southern and black music, But I didn't know that he played in the Isley Brothers, and he taught Ernie Isley a bit, which is why, and you can hear that, like if you listen to Who's That Lady, that like solo, that Ernie Isley, that's a very Jimi Hendrix-ish solo.
Huh.
Like learning about shit like that led me to like deep details. Like when I learned about Pantera, I learned that Dimebag Darrell was obsessed with Ace Frehley and Eddie Van Halen. And then from that, I learned that Eddie Van Halen was obsessed with Eric Clapton, and that started to put pieces together as far as how you can kind of like when you think Eddie Van Halen, you do not fucking think Eric Clapton. You don't think Eric Clapton.
Generally, no.
But like there are certain ways.
That is where a lot of those guys got like their notions, though. I mean, like
the stuff that came, like the stuff you listen to doesn't necessarily have to be what you repeat, but it can influence everything.
Absolutely.
And I still like my hip hop beats are like. My hip hop beats are like hip hop beats, but I try to make them as detailed as possible. My EDM stuff, it's like my progressive rock songs from back in the day where there is no A, B, C.
Right.
It's like A, B, C. There's this whole section leads to this whole thing leads to this whole thing, and I might bring something back at some point. But it's like I always like that stuff, you know. And it's you can find influences across the board. Fucking house music has got me. Oh shit! I've always listened to house music, but I never tried to make it until recently, and it's like. Finding the groove of simplicity is so hard for me. So I started listening to like a bunch of disco. Listening to what precursor that. Find out who was influenced by who and listen to those people.
Definitely.
Like, who was it? Someone I listened to led to me eventually to really dive into Chuck. AC/DC. Led me to really listen to a lot of Chuck Berry.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. You can see that influence, and it's like, oh, that makes sense because Angus Young is fucking cold. Yeah. But he's still just a really fast blues guitarist.
Right, absolutely.
That's really what it comes down to.
Sticking in the same, like, he plays in the same wheelhouse as most of those musicians.
It's like, let's just stick to a box. He moves his box a lot more.
Right.
And very fast, which I would expect this tiny Australian man running in a kid's uniform to do. But yeah, it's like that relativity never ends, man. It's fun. It's the shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you can't like box yourself in because of it. Like if I wouldn't have gotten into playing funk, I wouldn't be able to like just do funky shit. I would only be doing one thing. I couldn't just play metal, but I can definitely bring that aggressiveness and that attitude towards another style.
Absolutely.
Same thing with like R&B. You can bring that, like I could bring this R&B chord concepts and like weird motions and movements, or just like shit, playing guitar versus playing piano. The way a guitar is arranged, you get a different voicing on your chords,
right.
which is why I suck at like physically just playing piano, because the voicings are weird for me. So when I'm producing music, I normally write on guitar and like have to like kind of think it out, or I use like mini VSTs that they're made to make chords. They're made for like, if you know your theory, we can help you chordize that. But they also have things like guitar voicings and shit. You know, I use a lot of those tools in production to take like, I mean, people think making beats is simple. It is for the most part, but like I like to make fucking music, so I ain't finna like forget about my personal roots and my love of like musical arrangement and composition just to make a beat. Even with the house songs I'm making right now, it's still like, yes, it's supposed to be simple and groovy, and I totally gotta stand up to make it now, because I can't sit down and be that fucking repetitive and like not get mad or pass out.
Kind of lulls you down. Yeah,
it does. But as I'm standing, I'm able to just kind of groove, and I can like go grab my guitar and come up with like a quick bass line and like, you know, MIDI that out and do this and that and the other. It's like I can still use those influences to lead to other shit, and it's like there's infinite combinations of that. Like it's impossible to look at gent. Jesus,
just as
gent.
a genre? Or?
Yeah, it's literally like Al Di Meola style jazz on 8-string guitars. Like that's what it is, you know. And like I know Tosin Abasi, we've met several times. Cool kid. I got him lame ones too. Cool ass motherfucker.
Wait, who is that?
The guitarist from Animals as Leaders.
Okay.
I met him when I was working at when I was a DJ at Evil Olive for Porn and Chicken. Shout out Porn and Chicken.
Shout out Porn and Chicken.
But like he can't play blues, like not necessarily, because he's a jazz trained guitarist, and that crazy jazz and like that mindset is what led to him in doing genty stuff, because gent is just super heavy jazz. Like it's stupid heavy jazz, period. Just like them. I'm trying to think who else would be classified as like gent, but I can't think of any. Whatever the band Misha Mansour is in currently, he's one of those people that started that too. It's like very jazzy, but you wouldn't think of it like that if you know, like if you hear it, it's just
definitely not
shit.
the takeaway. It's definitely not the takeaway I got.
Time changes. That's it.
Yeah.
But like break that shit down. Oh, this is jazz. This is jazz, and that's why I can't fucking play it, because I have a blues and R&B background. Okay. And it's a whole different realm. I'm gonna stick to 6 strings, 7 max. 7 max, and that's just for arpeggio.
Fair. You've spent a lot of time, like as you've mentioned, like just being in the industry, and you were kind of managing gear for the Music Garage for a little while. Shouts out Music Garage. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I used to work there. You said managing gear and like the business side of the Music Garage. Excuse me. As a business, they offer hourly like studio rentals, space rentals for bands to practice or whoever to practice, and they come with gear, all that shit. I was initially just kind of there, like to audition for a band. I started talking to the guy who was managing. He had just been brought in, and they were really like wanting to flip their model around and really focus on it being like a musical oriented business, and he was a big part of that. And like we were just talking, I was just talking to him about gear, and he was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He was helping me set up, and like I said, I'm excited. So when I get excited, I fucking talk.
Yeah.
And it's like it'll be ongoing and forever lasting, you know, if it needs to be. But like that led to us like talking and connecting, and like then he hired me on to kind of like help assist with that. It was a good job, it was a good time. Kind of fucked it up, that ass. Not gonna go into details about that. Everybody does stupid shit when they're young.
Yes, definitely.
But nonetheless, it opened up so many doors as far as that place is like that place is what I think, to a degree at least, like the concept of a social sphere of music happens. Like Chance recorded there. A lot of like Chicago hip hop artists are in and out of that building all day, every day.
Every day.
All day, every day. I met I met DJ Ken, he was living on Old Block with Keith and him back in the day. I think he's still around too. He's got a room upstairs now. Still smells weird, but cool ass dude though. I met him when I was working there, and he was like basically doing his hustle, like making beats and like engineering and stuff. He could barely speak English, and he was living on O Block on the South Side, you know, like at least and shit. Like this Japanese kid came to fucking Chicago to make trap music, like to make drill shit. From Japan, from Tokyo, didn't speak a lick of English. Now he speaks some hood ass English. But I met him. I've met so many different artists, a lot of drummers, because Vic's Drum Shop is in there as well.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
Like a lot of drum clinics and stuff in those first couple of years, and it just like it continuously fueled my excitement, because then I got to like I became friends with Vic Mensa and other people, and I got to like sort of see this budding stage of like Chicago scene, you know, coming out of there.
And people outside of Chicago too. Like, I mean, you've met Smino and worked with him a little bit.
I met Smino through there. Smino works with Classic Studios, which isn't in Music Garage, but I've known Chris since high school. The guy, Chris Classic, Christopher Innumerable. Me and him both went to Lane Tech, and I used to like one of my earlier starts around even like really being in like, I'm not gonna say a professional studio, but even a proper home studio was at Chris's house. Right. You know, I think he drove like a Toyota Matrix or something like that. It was something. It was
a good car.
It's a decent car. I don't remember what it was, but one day we just went back to his house after school, after Lane Tech, and like started messing around. And I was showing him beats, and we were showing each other stuff, and you know, that's a relationship. I ran into him not too long ago at Soho House just randomly, and I ain't seen him in forever. Yeah. But like that, you know, that social like situation at the Music Garage is so great because it gives it a center. Like I love Chicago. I love being from here, but I do hate how crabs in the barrel the music scene can be here. Like it's a lot of like everybody's pulling each other down, trying to get up. Not too much, but a lot still, like a whole lot. It's not only that. There's definitely obviously sites of
I'd say even
everywhere.
Like outside of Chicago, that's just kind of the mindset that is prevalent
still.
But
look at New York. Look at all that shit. It's all crews and shit. It's all, everybody's kind of supporting.
They're kind of going the way California went a few years ago after Odd Future made their pop off, and now we've got
back the crew concept.
We've got Beast Coast out on the East Coast, which I love those guys. So sad I didn't get to see them at Governor's Ball.
Yeah, Joey Badass is a motherfucking badass.
Yeah, man. Joey Bad, the Underachievers, Flatbush Zombies, and I mean, yeah, on the other side of the country you've got TDE and stuff like that. Like
you got fucking J. Cole with his Dreamville shit.
You got J. Cole, and even like, you know, just under the surface of what most people listen to, there's also groups like the Swim Team. And Open Mike Eagle is bringing more underground hip hop artists to the forefront with his show with Baron Vaughn, the New Negroes.
Even looking at like outside of this country and outside of hip hop, you have like stuff that's been going on for a long time, like Broken Social Scene, which is just a collective. Yeah, it's a giant fucking collective. They brought us with Feist. Who else? Metric, Metric, so fucking cold, you know, and fucking influences and shit. One of the most viral videos right now, Lil Uzi Vert's been out for a fucking minute, but it's him singing Black Sheep by Metric. And I know he's younger than me, so maybe he got it from fucking Scott Pilgrim.
I was gonna say, they
but
did.
Nonetheless, that level of openness, you can see it in somebody who loves what they do, or somebody who like wants to do something. You know, like. That's a specific fucking thing. And yeah, I know it's a lot more popular now, especially because of that movie and all that shit. And all, like everybody can watch a movie and just a cult movie. Right. But it's like it shows you the diversity of how things can take you. Shit, I would have never gotten into rock and metal had I never played Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo in like 1994. Bro, the music in that game is so good. So good. If you translate it to actual instruments, you're just like, oh my god. You know, there's like the Storm Eagle stage has like this cold ass 3/4 timing situation, and it's like really heavy sounding. It's like, and then there's Zero's theme song, which I learned how to play like immediately when I picked up a guitar. Like shit like that. Fucking Buckethead wrote the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song. Exactly, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, that's Buckethead. Buckethead, the guitarist, the cold ass.
That makes sense now.
Guitarist.
Yeah.
Yes, I still remember the fucking notes and everything. Yeah. Like, there's so much relativity in like everything. Like we were talking earlier today. White Owl's doing this amazing thing. I don't know if I should say what it's for.
You don't have to say what it's for.
But he's curating. He's making a long mix and curating playlist for a very poppin'. It's gonna be very fucking dope situation out in LA. A pop up themed after one of our childhood situations, like childhood television memories that we all know and love.
Right.
So said person from television series had like a list of songs, and White Owl was like, okay, I gotta get these together and send them out to the owner so they can have it ready when the time the pop-up opens out in LA. And like I immediately suggested, oh bro, put these 2 songs from Goofy Movie on there. put Eye to Eye and fucking the other one. We were just singing it. They're both by
Stand Out?
Stand Out, yeah. Put those on there. We can't because it's specific, you know? You gotta do your job list. But like that stuff holds with you. I mean, that shit really holds. Like Tevin Campbell was fucking cold. And that movie, like, there's a video of him performing Stand Out in 2015 at the 20th anniversary of the movie. Okay. Yeah, no, he still sings like that. He still sounds like that. Motherfucker cold. I knew Tevin Campbell from when he was a kid, and my mom was listening to R&B in the car in her 1993 Chevy Lumina. Right. It was burgundy. That's how I learned the color burgundy. You know, but like, there's so many things we can draw from as musicians to keep us excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. You have to love what you do. That's why it's part of the title of the podcast,
right? Yeah. And that's why the Music Garage is so cool. It was when they once the dude that hired me got in there, it really became focused on let's make this a music social community.
Right.
You know, so that was great.
I think that it's working. They do a little, like, you know, they do their diligence on who's in there at any given time. Like, there's a chance for a band to win, you know, Artist of the Month one month, and Music Garage will post on their socials about them, and they have their posters all over the garage and the entryway and stuff, so people that are coming in to rent a room or even just, you know, monthly tenants will be able to come in and see, like, oh, that band is in here? I had no idea that band was in here. That's cool.
Know. Like, my studio's in there. Zero Studios. We're at the Music Garage. It's a giant. There's a lot of things in there. Don Brown of Porn and Chicken. He's there right above me. Him and Orville Klein share a room with this other local DJ Steve Gerard. They're all fucking amazing at what they do. You know, White Owl's trying to get like a monthly social going and shit. I think the next one's like this weekend, actually.
Like just a monthly social curated of artists from the garage?
No, just artists, just homies, just music peoples. He's trying to. It's a little DJ centric right now, obviously, but but it's networking. Yeah, it's still dope, and it's between all 3 of our studios, mine, his, and Steve and Orville and Don's right upstairs. Right. You know,
just more of a even more reason to stick with those connections that you make if they turn out to be people that. Yeah. Whether or not they end up going on to do bigger things, like having connections is super underrated in my opinion. Yeah. And not like just, you know, big name industry connections, but just people that you can rely on. There's a guy who was in a band that I played with. We played on and off with them for a good while, and we... One second. Sorry, we're back. Had a little bit of scheduling to take care of. And... those connections, like whether or not they end up being someone who, like I said, goes on to do anything huge, like that person, if you're there for them, in my experience, they'll be there for you, and you can hear it in discussions from pretty much any industry professional. Like if you're there for somebody, most often they'll remember it. Yeah. And if they're a good person too, then they're going to be excited at the chance to not just repay you for what you did for them, but also to build that relationship up and to form it into something that could go on to do something big. Yeah. Like Pat Corcoran, the guy who manages Chance the Rapper.
Pat the Manager.
Funny story, was managing my cousin's rap career right when Chance blew up. And, you know, things are really good with my cousin and Pat still, like to this day. And I know that it's not just because Pat is this big guy, like in the music industry. Like he came to Thanksgiving a couple times. Like he's good people, and I just, you know, I believe that if you find a person that you see as a good person and you want to help them out, then do it. And if given the chance, that person will almost always be there to back you up and help you do what you need to do. Case in point, the guy that I'm interviewing right the hell now is my first episode recording experience, and one of my oldest friends is here to do it with me. And you know, there's also some rumblings perhaps that this guy might be doing his own podcast. Check it out if it gets out there. And
if I were to do that, it'd be comedy stuff. It'd just be conversation. Although a lot of the conversations definitely come from being in this music industry.
Right, exactly.
Especially in Chicago, in the service industry and the media industry here. It's oof, there's so many things that happen.
So we're getting to right a little bit after the half-hour mark now, and I just want to kind of open the floor to you and see if you have any straight out suggestions to give. And I'm going, if you haven't covered anything that I thought you already covered, I'll drop a few more in.
I mean, shit. As far as, I mean, who am I to give advice, right? But as far as anything, like, sticking to what you love is very important to anything. To any passion. Period. You have to, at the very least, stick through it. I've get lost relationships and shit sometimes and all that. I've been broke as fuck, but I've kept my direction as far as what I want my focus to be on, what I want my heart to be on is music. And the only way to really do that is to keep things fresh and new, to keep challenging yourself. I think too many people find themselves separating themselves from, outside of their own comfort zone, in their own world. Like in general, they stick to what they know and what they do, and that's it. And that can take you somewhere as well. But be willing to open up. Like that's the only real, like, being willing to open up your own ears to, like, everybody else's opinion matters. Not like it does. It matters for your own personal influence.
Sure.
And on top of that, learn some shit. Motherfuckers, as far as the technical side of making music, like as an engineer and as a producer, I constantly get asked very vague questions. Like, oh, what's the best VST for this? Well, that's not a question, That's not a question. I think people don't take their time to learn their craft or to explore it even as much as they should before they start just trying to be perfect and all this shit and start trying to, like, make a big hit or something. So it's like, take some time to learn your craft in and out. You don't have to be technically proficient, like, in every fucking aspect, but to have, like, an understanding of it. Like I said, when I watched Alan play, that kind of, like, a couple of our words back then kind of, like, opened up, because I already learned all this stuff. I don't even memorize all this shit. I just didn't know how to put it together, But I took an outside opinion on that, and it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense because he understands the technical side of the things.
Right.
I just know what it looks like, People working in computers need to fucking open up the damn help menu, shit like that. Like, regularly. Just be willing to learn new shit and be willing to use all of that. Be willing to constantly, like, work at it. Woodshed just a little bit. That's really it. Like, cut the lows on everything and mono your subs. Like, I keep telling people that. Cut the lows on everything that's not a bass drum or a sub frequency or they don't need it, and just mono your goddamn subs. Period. Like, I'm in so many fucking hip hop sessions where you hear a beat, I'm just like, I wish I had stems so I could mix this, because I mean, I'm about this life and I'm on some hood shit too, but I'm also a very thick ear, So reach out.
Your ear's got a musical IQ for sure.
It does things.
Yeah. So there was one other thing that we didn't really. I just want to touch on it quickly, and that's kind of. This is gonna sound kind of rude to put it into the first episode, but you have to understand and know your worth, in my opinion, as a musician. What, like, as a band or a solo artist or even a public speaker, what do you bring to the table, and if is an offer worth your time? Because I was in a band for about 5 years, and that band got hella offers for lots of places that were in and out of Illinois, and we did not do all of them. Like, you'd think that the burgeoning punk rock band would want to just jump on whatever offers they got, but truthfully there were some that we couldn't swing because of scheduling, but there were others that we wouldn't do because we were not being offered enough, like, not even looking for a living wage. Like, we're not trying to get $15 per person per the amount of time that we're at the show plus mileage and stuff. We were just trying to get, like, a good payout for a gig, and if
split it and be okay.
Right, if we're driving out to the ass end of nowhere, we do need a little bit of a payout. And so basically the idea is, don't overstretch yourself, and don't try not to accept offers that will hurt you in the short term and make it so that the long term seems like something you don't want to get into anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely something to go with as far as longevity. Like, me and my business partner AJ, we already talked about the idea of, like, raising our rate to the studio, actually. which people don't understand. And it's like AJ's a business mind. He went to school for business. He's fucking perfect at it. He's great at it, and I love him for it. And it's like, it is an active business motto, and not motto, but practice. It's shown to work. Where if people like they raise their prices, like sometimes it shows more professionalism to the consumer to a degree. Like to a degree.
Yeah.
And it does work in every circumstance. And as far as knowing your worth, like I've definitely like this year me and Whiteout turned down the opportunity to play at this music festival this year. It was their last time doing it, and we've known all these people for a long time. But the offer was I enjoyed it because I just want to have a good time. But to be honest, as far as what we're trying to take this career to as a group, after some conversation, we both kind of decided, it would be a bad idea. It's a long commute. It's not a lot of money, and it's not something that we haven't already done. So why it kind of looks shitty as far as like in a personal level, but it wasn't a personal decision. It was a business decision. Like, because you have to look at yourself as your brand and what you want your brand to be worth. Shout out to Desus and Mero for that.
Yeah.
The brand is strong, but it's like it's you gotta know your worth. You have to, or at least assess it a little bit, and don't just take every offer that comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Just don't. Just take your time, think about it just a little bit, apply yourself. Obviously, I'm not finna like deny every piece of dollar that comes into my step, but I had some dude trying to come and record for 30 minutes. That is a waste of time. I'm not finna record you for 30 minutes.
What are you gonna get done in that amount of time? Truly,
you can't get shit done in 30
I mean,
minutes.
they used to call me Sammy One Take, and I still like, even if you get it right in one take, there's still something in that take that can be improved. There's still, there's still things that you can delve into while you're in that situation to not waste not only your time but your engineer and producer's time.
Yeah, like time matters. Like if you don't put any time into shit, it's gonna sound like shit, and you can't be mad about that. You want me to churn you out like a fucking hit in 30 minutes? All right, there's only so much I can do. Don't get me wrong, I can do quite a bit, but nothing is perfect, and you have to be willing to dedicate that time. And time is more valuable than fucking money, to be honest. And that's just another form of worth. Yeah. I'm definitely worth more than me taking my ass all the way to the studio from my house, getting set up a nice hour early for somebody to come in and record for 30 minutes and then leave. That's a waste of my time, bro. That's like 2-3 hours out of my time. I could be making beats and making money that way. Like, fuck all that.
Yeah. So, I guess it sounds like the takeaways we have for this episode are, make connections and keep them, not just for their marketability, but for what they do for you as a person, keeping you connected to your scene, inspiring you, and all that, and know your worth, and don't overstretch yourself. And was there anything else?
I mean, like I said, be willing to open your ears up to change.
Yes.
Difference isn't like bad by any means. So.
Yeah.
Do that shit. Find some influences and things outside of the one world you live in. Try to live outside of that shit. I was definitely the only black kid in FUBU jerseys at metal shows. So, yeah, nothing wrong with standing out.
No, definitely not. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, dude. Appreciate your time as always. And to everyone who's been listening, thank you for your time as well. This has been the Gig, Pray, Love podcast, where we do the gig. We pray it went well, and at the end of the day, we love what we do. So give us a quick follow over there on Facebook or Twitter or whatever else I've ended up setting up in this amount of time. And
I'm sure you'll post all the socials.
Hashtag Gig, Pray, Love. Everybody have a great one.
Peace.
Welcome, everyone, to the Gig, Pray, Love podcast. My name is Sam. I will be your host today and for all other days. Checking in to give you all the best in tips and tricks from industry professionals and people who have really lived what they are talking about. Check in with us 2 times a month for new episodes, and we will try and give you the best that we got. Thanks for listening.